This is part 3 of my Working in the Heat series. When serving in the military, I had to wear hats when outdoors as part of the uniform. Patrol caps, garrison caps, helmet liners, Kevlar helmets, flight caps, baseball caps, berets, etc. In my travels, I would often pick up hats unique to the local culture, like the Panama hats of the tropical Americas, the English cap of Great Britain, and the Paykal and Uzbek caps from Afghanistan. You could even consider the keffiyeh and shamak that I talked about in episode 1 as hats. So when I started my current job, I looked at the hats my co-workers were wearing. Some wore ball caps, some wore a pith helmet, and others wore a non-military employer-authorized version of the boonie hat, sometimes called a bucket hat. I have even seen people drape a wet rag over their head just to get some relief. I felt I needed a hat to help with both the heat and to protect my face, neck, and ears from sun damage. My wife, ever the master shopper and worried about skin cancer, looked for a proper wide-brimmed hat. While she was looking, I got the authorized uniform bucket hat. It wasn't good. The material was too warm and there were only a couple small holes to let the heat out. The brim also wasn't wide enough to shade my face or neck properly. It only covered the tips of my ears. I then tried a wide-brimmed hat that I had picked up years ago for gardening. I think it is known as a river guide hat. It was good at shading me and the mesh let the heat escape, but I wasn't done looking. So I tried a straw hat that I saw at a flea market. It had a really wide brim, but while the weave of the straw did allow some heat to escape, it wasn't the right one either. I also worried about it getting crushed since I'm not always careful with my stuff. My wife then found and purchased the Arctic Air hat. It has a really wide brim and mesh vents to let the heat out like the river guide hat. However, the entire top surface has a reflective material to reflect the sun. The inside of the hat has a blue lining of a material similar to the Mission Gator I talked about in my Working in the Heat episode 1. Just like the rest of the items I talked about so far, you wet it and the evaporation keeps you cool. I've been using it for about 5 years now and it has worked very well. It does get dried out faster than any of the other items, but it is easy to remove and quickly spray down with more water. Mine is a little bit stained, but it is washable. After 3 summers of near daily wear and frequent washings, the only thing showing any damage is the drawstring that tightens the hat to the size of your head. The rest of the hat is in great condition. Even the drawstring that tightens to hold the hat on your head when the wind picks up is still in good shape, and the little spring-loaded plastic piece works perfectly. I've been glad to have that on several occasions because that wide brim does catch the wind. There are other companies that make similar hats and they look pretty good, but I haven't tried them. Maybe I'll try one someday just to do a video on it that compares them. For now, the Mission Gator, Ignitex sleeves, and Arctic hat work well together to keep me functioning in the heat and actually feeling comfortable on most summer days. Be careful though, you still need to drink plenty of water and watch for signs of heat stress. Often it will be other people who notice the signs before you do, so pay attention to comments made by those you cross paths with. If you want more information about anything I mention in my videos, let me know and I'll do another video about that.